Hello everyone. Today we're going to hack a Windows box using just the terminal. Yeah, that's right. No web browser, just the terminal. In Hollywood movies, you certainly saw hackers using multiple Windows pop-ups, tools, and multiple screens, but here we're just going to use a terminal and a simple old screen. So let's get started. I'm going to ping my victim machine. All right, it seems that it doesn't respond to pings. Let's try with nmap. So that would be nmap victim. I'm only interested in open ports and verbose mode. All right, seems that even though the ping does not work, ICMP was filtered on the firewall, we could still perform port scanning. And we have a bunch of ports, and MSRPC is known for Windows boxes. Okay, so now that we know that the victim machine is up and running, I'm going to perform a full nmap scan. So that would be nmap victim, and I'm going to use all ports. I'm interested in open ports, and I want to see verbose output. And I'm going to store all the scans into a scans file. And let me just be aggressive. I don't care. And I also want to use the banner script to grab the banner of each discovered service. Oh, it seems that we have other ports which are popping here. So 3389 is typical for RDP to remotely connect to this Windows box. 8000 seems like a web browser, but we're going to check that with the banner script. And there are some other ports here which seem to be kind of random. We have SMB open. So the output gives us some service names, but it couldn't grab the correct banner here. I'm interested in the this service here. It seems that it's hosting HTTP service. I'm itching to go and use my web browser to see what the page looks like, but I'm going to resist that and just use the terminal. So I'm going to reuse nmap once more with my victim machine. I'm going to target the port 8000 and I'm going to run all the scripts that are relevant to HTTP services. I'm going to use the V for verbose, and voila, we get some additional information here. So the first thing is that it's supporting a get method. And the title of the page says site doesn't have a title. Okay, so why don't we fetch the page using maybe curl? So curl HTTP victim and port 8000. If you're interested in learning more about these techniques, if you are interested in pursuing an ethical hacker career, then I encourage you to head over to academy.thehackerish.com. There you will find online courses that you can enroll to and just find a suitable course for you. It should give you a great start. Okay, so that's the only HTML code that we get back. Let's use the verbose mode. So here are the HTTP responses, and we see nothing here that is interesting. So why don't we discover some content? And to do that, I'm going to once again try nmap, but this time I'm going to use the scripts HTTP enum. I guess that's the right one. Let me verify using the locate command. So yes, indeed, we have a script called HTTP enum, which is supposed to perform directory brute forcing. But here it seems that we don't get any. I'm going to run nmap once more with a service enumeration flag just to make sure that I've enumerated the service that I'm going after. We were able to grab the version of the service hosted on port 8000 TCP, which is H.A.C.K streaming media service. I wonder what this service is about. So once again, I'm itching to use the web browser to look for exploits, but there are built-in tools on the terminal in Kali, or you can also install them. One of them is called Searchsploit. And I'm going to give it the name of the service here. And it seems that I have a bunch of results. So we have icecast 1.1, 1.3, 2.0. And this one is promising, directory traversal. Maybe we can read some unauthorized files. This is denial of service. We don't really want that. Format string, it's under remote, so I guess it's a remote code execution for version 1.3. What else do we have? We have remote code execution here for Windows for version 2.0.1. And I wonder what's the correct version of this H.A.C.K streaming media service. To do that, I think I'm going to perform some directory brute forcing. wfuzz presents us with different options, and generally how you use it is using wfuzz, the options, and then the payloads and the URL. So the payload here, /z, is the payload that we're going to use for each fuzz keyword, and there is an alias for the file word lists payload, which is simply just to use -w and the path to the word list. So we're going to use that, wfuzz, and the word list we're going to use is, let's locate the different word lists that we have. I know there is a folder here called word lists. And so here we have some word lists that come with wfuzz. So what I'm after is just directories. So I guess this one would be good. Let's see how this word list looks like. So general, and we have HTTP methods, admin panels. That looks interesting. And we have big. So we're going to use maybe admin panels for now. So that would be wfuzz -w for word list, and then the URL, which is victim port 8000 and the placeholder fuzz. This is where we want to fuzz using the word list. Okay, let's see what we get. And we have lots of pages here, which are returning 404. So obviously we don't want those. So what I can do is blacklist those response codes. And to do that, we can hide responses with specific code. So that would be H.C. So --HC 404. We don't want those. Yeah, I guess I need to put it before the URL. So that would be here. All right, so we have admin right away. Okay, let's curl this since we are not going to use our web browser. Victim for 8000/admin, and maybe use the verbose mode. And we redirect. No, it's giving us 404, file not found. I guess we need to add a slash at the end. Yes, so it seems that it's working now, and we have 401 like we've had with wfuzz. And here we can see that there is H.A.C.K server. So I guess that this is the right version of this server. So if we go back to our search exploit command, we just need to choose between one of these. So we have a Metasploit module, header override, and we have two code execution vulnerabilities. Let's fire up Metasploit and see if we can find any ready-to-use module. MSF console-q. This is just to avoid having the fancy header that we usually get with the MSF console terminal. It'll take a little bit of time, but yeah. Okay, so with the prompt that we have, we can use the search command, and we're going to use for search for Icecast. Okay, so we have only one result, header override, right? And this matches this module right here. So let's use that. Let's try the options command, and we can see that we should give it a our hosts parameter, which is required here. This is the victim's IP address or host name. So in this case, I'm going to set the our hosts to victim. And the port is already 8000, which is good for us. And we want to have a reverse TCP interpreter shell. I'm going to set the exit function. Let's just leave it at thread. That's fine. And the lhost in this case would be the IP address of the interface that's going to receive the reverse shell. If we type IPA, that's the ton0, because I'm doing a VPN connection to the lab that I'm hacking. So set lhost to ton0 would be good for us. Options once more, just to verify that everything is in order. And yeah, we're going to use 4444 as our reverse TCP callback port. You can change that to something a little bit more subtle, but we're just going to go with the defaults here. And exploits. Nice. So we have a interpreter session opened, and if we get the ID, that's dark PC, the name of the PC, and the username is dark. Perfect. We gained access to the server as the user dark. I wonder if we could exploit anything to gain elevated access on the box. Well, first of all, let's just see what are the processes running here using the ps command. And it seems that we have a bunch of typical Windows processes: Explorer, tasks, host, and the Icecast too. Okay, perfect. To automate the process, I'm just going to run a automated check to see if there are any vulnerabilities in this Windows box that would allow me to perform elevated access or privilege escalation. To do that, I'm going to run the postscript run. I guess it's post. And then I guess that would be Windows gather. And let's see. Not sure if it's Windows. Maybe it's multi gather. I'm looking for the exploit suggester. All right, it's not here. Okay, let's background this session, and so we can list it here and search for exploit suggester. Maybe just suggest. Okay, so here it is. post multi-recon local exploit suggester. So I'm going to use it, use 3, and let's see what options do we have. So we need the ID of the session. In this case, that would be session with ID 1. And let's run it. So it's collecting the results from, it's running the script and then collecting the results, and we should have some exploit candidates that would allow us to perform privilege escalation. So it says that the target appears to be vulnerable to bypass U.A.C. event viewer technique. We have a bunch of other exploits that we could use. So this one seems promising. I'm just going to look for, well, actually we can just copy this and use it. Okay, so type options, and here we just need to specify the session, and we would like to create another reverse interpreter TCP shell back to our machine, but this time it would be with elevated privileges. I'm just going to change the exit function to thread, so that just when it crashes, it doesn't crash the whole process. And I'm also going to set the L host to ton0. For the L port, since I already have 4444 listening, I think I'm going to change that to maybe 4443 and exploit. Okay, session. Yeah, I need to set the session ID to 1. This is the previous session that we have. Remember, if we type sessions, this is the session with the low privileged user. All right, exploit. Okay, it's performing the bypass UAC. So that's a technique that's abusing the pop-up screen that usually happens when you want to run a program with elevated privileges. I'm sure you've encountered this in your Windows box. When you want to run something with elevated privileges, you get the pop-up, do you want to really run this as an admin? And you click yes. So that's basically a bypass of this protection. So now we got another session, but this time if we type get UID, it says here dark, but I think we have more privileges here. Get privs, and you can see we have a lot of privileges. If we compare them to the first session, I guess, so I'm going to interact with the session 1, and if we type get privs, we only have a certain limited privileges. Okay, let's get back to our session 2 with elevated privileges, and let's actually try to dump the hashes stored on the machine. Okay, operation failed. I think we need to migrate to a system, authority system process. So why don't we maybe target a SVC host or spool server? Let's try SVC host, this one. So the process ID is the one on the left. So we can migrate this process to gain full access or system privileges. So I'm going to use migrate, and if you're unsure, I guess the -H gives you the help, so that would be migrate, and then the process ID. Okay, let's give it some time. It migrated successfully, and now if we type get UID, we are in the authority system. So hash dump this time would work because we have the most elevated access. I hope it works. Yes, it worked. And we have the NTLM hashes of the administrator, the user, and a guest. Perfect. So we've gained full access to a machine, a Windows box, using just a terminal without using any web browser or anything like that, just terminal in Kali. If you're interested in learning more about these techniques, if you are interested in pursuing an ethical hacker career, then I encourage you to head over to academy.thehackerish.com. There you will find online courses that you can enroll to and just find a suitable course for you. It should give you a great start. I hope this was beneficial to you. As always, stay curious, keep learning, and go find some bugs.